All right, and I am back. This is the secret commentary for CyberFrog Blood Honey. It's part two, and we're gonna pick up right where we left off. And I hope this time it looks. This time I hope it looks a little bit better. I don't know if it does or not. Honestly, looks pretty silly. Okay, so here we go. So we open the book now. Initially, we got. Should I talk about this stuff? All right, so this was all chosen. This was all stuff that I decided afterwards. But as we open it up, this is part one of CyberFrog Blood Honey, and immediately it's very Green Lantern. I think that working on Green Lantern was probably the best thing that I could have done in order to sort of educate myself about where CyberFrog Blood Honey should start, where it should come from, and how to tell a story. I looked at Green Lantern Rebirth, the first comic, the first issue of that book, in order to get a little bit of help. I read it through again, and I read the way Jeff Johns kind of lays things out and sort of begins a story, especially the opening sequence with Kyle Rayner coming to Earth. That was deeply influential on this. Obviously, it's a very similar scene. I wish I had it in front of me. I could show you. But yeah, so here is this is all we see. I mean, this is it. This is all we see of Cyberfrog's homeworld of Perdani. And the only thing that you can really say about it is that it's green. It's very, very green. It's a green world, and it has an enormous sun, a lot of light. It's a lot of light and warmth on this planet. So those are just the only two clues that are visually given here about Cyberfrog's homeworld, and they're important. I mean, those two factors are very, very important as to why this is why they were chosen, why they survived a Vespus invasion, and why they felt like they had the answer to how to defeat the Vespus. This is all being narrated by Chel Sin. Okay, and we find out, she says this is recorded for posterity. This is for whatever poor soul survives, suffers, and seeks answers as to why this happened, why this didn't work, what could have been done differently, and this is for who is to blame. I'm called Chel Sin. Chel, by the way, is the little brother of my second girlfriend. That's where that name came from. I thought that was the coolest name I'd ever heard. And I don't know if it's Irish or Welsh or is it Gaelic? I don't know what it is, but Chel was Melissa's little brother, and that stuck with me. And I think I took the name Chel and put it in Cyberfrog number 0 back in the 90s. And then Sin, which I think just sounds cool. And I guess Sin is I decided early on a sin is just what that breed of living spacecraft is called. They are sins. So this one is Chelsin. I was your last hope, and this is the story of my failure. So right away we know things didn't go right. And this is again, this is very Jeff Johns here. I mean, this whole thing is very Jeff Johns. Here's Chelsin back when she's coming to Earth. She looks like it's very Superman. This origin, of course, is just very similar to Superman's origin. It's a big influential thing to me. Superman, especially the Superman movie from 1978, meant a lot to me as a kid, and I love the idea of a little baby being sent to Earth from another world. Chelsin is kind. She understands that, like, this is gonna blow your mind. It's like if you find this stuff, if you find this information, if you find her from where she's recording this message, this information is gonna blow your mind. So she's actually saying, "Do you understand?" It's like you're not. I understand humans are very, very curious. You're gonna want to know more, so I'm gonna speak very plainly to you about what happened here. Your planet was in terrible danger, as you now know. The Vespus were coming. I was called, and I was called, and I was sent, and I came as quickly as I could. There's a whole breed, there's a whole species of these spacecraft, which are beloved on the world of Pradani. They're loved. They're special. They're caretakers, and they were chosen specifically for this mission, for this task. Pradani cared so much about you and your planet and what you'd built, what you were, and what you could be. I mean, and that's important. It's like you have a civilized world that is looking at the accomplishments of humanity. The culture, the world that we built that took so many centuries, to accomplish. I mean, where we found ourselves in 1996, which is when when she came start. It's like could be easily wiped out. Could all be erased. Could easily be wiped out by an invading horde of monsters. Could all be destroyed. So we got to protect that somehow, and this is the attempt to do that. So Pradani tried to intervene. They sent Chelsin to Earth, and here we are in the Pine Barrens. Now, CyberFrog used to take place in New York City. I mean, that's where it was. That's in the '90s. I thought everything happened in New York City. That's where superheroes were. No, that's where Marvel superheroes are. Part of getting to do this comic book over again is to no, Chell is not in the pod thing. Chell is the pod. Chell is this robot. Chell is this robot spacecraft. Part of the privilege of getting to do your own comic book and do it over again is I just said, no, you know what? Like, I'm going to place this whole thing in my world. This is, why should it be in New York, which I'm not that familiar with. I've been there, sure. But I know New Jersey. I know Philadelphia. I know Camden. This is where I grew up. So why can't CyberFrog be Philadelphia's superhero? Why can't he be stationed here? It's like, ideally, who do we have? We have Rocky. You know what I mean? Like, let's have a Philadelphian superhero who sees the world the way that I do. Just seemed like a privilege to be able to have the Chelsin crash in the Pine Barrens, which makes up 1/3 of New Jersey. People don't understand. Like, New Jersey is mostly woods and trees and stuff like that. So it seemed like a good idea to do that. All right, so she crashes in the Pine Barrens. Now, the whole thing, again, here's another Superman reference. They aimed her for this. She was supposed to come to the Pine Barrens because they believed at the time that there would be a Boy Scout troop camping, in the Pine Barrens. And so it's another kind of Superman thing. She was meant to combine the unborn fetal mass that's inside of her right now. That was meant to copy, a strong, upright, just young man, a Boy Scout, and make a cyber superhero, a cyber Superman, to stop the Vespas. But for some reason, I don't know what happened to the Boy Scouts. Who knows? They just didn't. They weren't there. And it was, I guess it took a little longer to get to Earth, and she needed to give birth to this fetal mass. Now that's the Pradani. That's how they breed. They don't. The baby, the fetus, doesn't take the form features. It doesn't adopt any features at all of its parents until it's born. This little kind of blob comes out, and then it sort of copies the first two beings that it comes into contact with. Ideally, its parents, right, and combines them, and then that's the child. So the plan is to actually extract. One of these Pradani women will volunteer to have the fetus extracted from her, which is this little blob, put into a sin in a containment system within the sin, and sent to another world, so that when it's extracted from one of the sins, it will copy the sin, and then a human or whatever alien it comes into contact with, and make a cyber being. Now, ideally it would have been a human, but there was no human around, but there was this cute little tree frog. So, unfortunately, I guess, that was the first thing that it could copy, and it copied the tree frog. Now, some people think that, some people I noticed who read this think that this tree frog actually became CyberFrog. No, the tree frog is actually CyberFrog's dad. It's just sitting there. This blob copied, see, it just copied the tree frog. It combined Chelsin with the tree frog and made CyberFrog. One thing that she didn't understand, though, was that it was a twin. This was unexpected by her. The Pradani knew this, but she didn't know that, she was carrying twins. And so, here we have CyberFrog, who was born, and this is the first splash of CyberFrog. And it's funny. It's like, I remember I wanted to draw CyberFrog awkward. like a newborn baby giraffe or something. You ever see like a newborn horse that's just unsteady on its feet, and it's just perfectly kind of naive and innocent. This is newborn CyberFrog, who was never a baby. He's already a teenager. He's already the age of a Boy Scout. Okay. So, but he is a baby in his brain. He needs to be programmed. He's prepared to be a human being. He was meant to be a human being. He's been nurtured and taught to be a human being on the way to Earth. His name is Trick Ron. And this word, the name obviously Trick means trick, okay? And Ron is taken from Rana, which is, I believe, Latin for frog. So Trick Frog. I mean, that's basically his name. Ambassador of the Phoebe, the people of Pradani. Phoebe are the name of the people in the world. We appoint you protector of Earth. And CyberFrog is just completely baffled by all this, unprepared. And meanwhile, the other twin meets a nice little salamander. CyberFrog has to be taught to speak English. And not only that, reprogrammed, recalibrated to speak like a New Jerseyan or a Philadelphian. So he's like, yo, where am I at? What the? All right. So this is one of my favorite panels. I love little innocent CyberFrog that's like, okay, mom, I'm listening. All right. I love this panel. It came out so good. I love his big eyes. Normally I draw CyberFrog looking annoyed. I don't know. It's like, I remember when I finished drawing this, and each one of these panels, it's like oftentimes just a single panel would take 10 hours. I mean, a full day's work. It's like a panel like this is so small, and it just, it doesn't seem like much. Like you look at this and you just move on. But this was an incredible amount of work. It's like all of this, it's like, where did the money go for a book like CyberFrog? It went for me just sitting here and going, okay, I'm going to draw. There's going to be no cheating. I'm going to draw everything very, very carefully and just make sure that this is exactly and precisely the comic book that I want it to be. So, again, a page would often take 2-3 days, sometimes more, to get it done properly. I remember this page took a week. It took a long time. And, the thing about doing, a crowdfunder is that, when it comes to Comicsgate, I felt like whenever I finished a page, I would show the page because it didn't belong to me. People already paid for it. People already paid for this. So it's not like I'm holding this back and then trying to get your money from you. You already paid for it. It belongs to you. So my attitude was, I finish a page, I show it. I let everybody see what they've already paid for. It's a way different situation than normal mainstream comics, in which, the incentive is to attract, your money from you because you haven't seen the work. You haven't paid for it yet. It doesn't belong to you. This already belonged to you. So it was kind of a neat thing. It was kind of fun to just say, well, here's another page. Here's another piece for you. So she actually is telling him here, she said, you're here for a very important purpose. A fight is coming, an indescribable war, death, destruction. Without you, this world is doomed. And he's like, doomed? She's like, I will always guide you. I will always prepare you. This is a mother. I mean, Chelsin is the mother figure here. She's preparing him now. She's educating him in a very short period of time and saying, this is who you are. I'm going to instruct you and I'm going to tell you what your purpose is. What a gift that is. What an amazing thing that is to actually have a parent who tells you what your purpose is. Most of us have to feel around and find what our purpose is. Many of us never realize what it is. But how great would it be if right from birth, somebody said, your job is to be a soldier. Your purpose is to be, the thing that stands between an invasion of planet Earth. It's up to you. That's who you are. That's an amazing thing. So, she's like, there are rules and regulations. She says, I will always be with you, always. That's a nice thing. And she turns on the cybernetics. You see the little lights come on here. And here's what she can do. She says, look, your new home is dangerous and will soon become a battleground for the survival of the human race. As long as we are connected, I will adjust and enhance your cybernetic body to meet any threat. Within you is everything that you will need to end the coming war. And that is true. And we still don't know what that means. I haven't revealed what that means. What is in CyberFrog? Like what's contained in CyberFrog that could actually hold back an entire species, an entire invading army, I should say, of killer wasps? Like what does he have? Well, we don't know. We don't know right now, and there's a reason for that we find out in the story. But clearly, when it comes to the next 2 years of CyberFrog protecting Earth, protecting humans, learning to be a hero, he's going to be fully armed and prepared to handle any threats. So obviously he can make a gun. Look, you can make a little plasma rifle with your arm and destroy trees. A lot of power. You're very, very powerful. And she wants to know, he says, well, who are the Vespas? And she says, an invading, conquering swarm. You're here to protect the human race from them. Humanity may be flawed, and we are, but they have limitless potential for good, and we do. I believe all this stuff. Like, this is, everything within this book is kind of my own principle. You may even grow to love them. Okay, even though you're so different from humans, as you learn to protect them, as you spend time with them, as you live among them, you might learn to love them. And then that's countered by, look, the Vespas will see them as livestock, a food source. This is an important word right here, livestock. You're gonna learn more about this in Wrecked Planet. Their drained and empty bodies will be recycled as nesting material. Blood is the nectar that becomes their honey. And look at CyberFrog again. I love my guy. I love my character so much. The Vespas will obliterate all life. Oh, this is so good. I'm a good writer. I don't care what people say. I like my own writing. The Vespas will obliterate all life and destroy all of creation. They will perch upon the ashes of billions of broken hearts and dead dreams, and they will revel in the misery. They will revel in the misery while they lay more eggs. Very similar to social justice warriors. All right, CyberFrog just says they sound like jerks. All right, let's break the tension a little bit. Look at his teeth. I love his little teeth. He says, look, he's not as interested in the Vespas as he is about the humans that he's going to live amongst and perhaps learn to love. He's interested in them. Tell me more about the humans. What do they want? What do we want? What do people want? That's a complicated question. Most people want the freedom to live as they choose without fear. And this is important. This is very, very important. Without fear. And here's your mission statement. Protect them. Help them. Be prepared to die for them. You might die for them. Okay? That's, if you die for them, your purpose will have been fulfilled. It's okay to die for them. Be prepared for that. And he says, all right, when do we start? All right, there's another one. So she knows already that Salamandroid has been born. And Salamandroid has a very different mission. Come closer, young one, don't be afraid. She syncs his language and he says hello. And Salamandroid, Salamandroid is a Great Dane. I had a Great Dane named Blue. And I had one named Ace too. Let's talk about Ace. I had a Great Dane named Ace, and Ace was a dinosaur. Ace was an enormous dog with a loud bark. But Ace was a sweetheart and would never hurt anyone. Ace just wanted love. And you would tell Ace, if Ace was a real human being who could talk, who could understand, we would have a conversation with Ace and just say, this is what you do. You protect this family. You will protect this family at the price of your own life. Okay? Do you understand? And he would say, yes. Do you love me? That's what dogs are. It's like all dogs want is to know that you love them. And that's who Salamandroid is. So you're my mother. Now, CyberFrog's name is Trick Ron. Little joke that I added here, and I was so happy with this. Salamandroid's name is Dedu Ron Ron. All right? Your size is not accidental. You were made with a purpose by the planners of the world of your origin. You are appointed as the protector of your brother Trickron. Watch over him, for his mission here on Earth is vital. If he fails, there will be no tomorrow. She's telling him you have no obligation. Your job is not to protect the Earth. So we cannot share a cyberlink. I cannot offer you the advantages enjoyed by your sibling. You must endure and thrive without them. You will encounter the human population on this planet. Their value as individuals will be left for you to determine as you serve your primary function. In other words, CyberFrog is not allowed to kill people. You are. Okay? If they get in the way of CyberFrog and his mission, which is to protect humanity, you are allowed to kill human beings. Yeah. So that's the whole thing. So protect your brother, clear his path, help him to succeed, even again at the cost of your own life. Is this understood? It's all about the greater good. Be prepared to die. Be prepared to lay down your life to accomplish your mission. And yeah, he does understand that, but that's not. You are my mother. Yes, I love you. It's like he just wants to know, do you love me too? And this is an important line that's going to make a lot more sense after you read the ash can that comes with Wrecked Planet, which is going to be called Salamandroid Death's Sting. And it might make you cry. The Duran Ron, there is my heart and there is you. I know of no difference between them. Okay, so there's a double meaning there. You'll find out. Do well, be worthy of your purpose. Be worthy of your purpose. You know what your purpose is. You know what your purpose is. Go out there and do it boldly and do it with honor. And always know that I love you too. So we know that is all Salamandroid is interested in. Salamandroid wants his mom to be proud of him. All right. I will. And isn't that interesting? It's like, make me proud. You're allowed to go out there and kill. Your only job is to protect your brother so that he can save the world. And she sinks into a pond somewhere in the Pine Barrens and realizes that this didn't go exactly the way it was supposed to go. So many variables unaccounted for. And yet I allowed myself to feel hopeful. Chelson feels things. Look at her feeling things. I mean, look, we're about to have war. The Earth is about to be invaded, and Chelson, she feels. She thinks about, she loves, she feels. It's like, that's not necessarily a good thing. And yet I allowed myself to feel hopeful. Beneath the surface of this murky water, I would monitor them and prepare. All right, so here we have CyberFrog as he enters the world. He enters his service optimistically, but people are terrified of him. He's hoping that he's going to learn to love people, but he doesn't love people. Well, I mean, he might love people. They don't love him. And it turns him grouchy. It turns him into the CyberFrog of the 1990s. If you read the CyberFrog book of the 1990s, CyberFrog didn't like people. In fact, I went back and read the old 90s CyberFrog book. He didn't even like Heather, in that book. He really just was grouchy and wanted to be left alone. Wanted to watch TV, wanted to eat chicken. And he was just an embittered, this is the 90s CyberFrog. And that's not necessarily something that I'm proud of. It's like I look back on those books and I'm like, why was that me? Why was I projecting that? Why was I putting that out there into my comic book when I could have produced something that actually meant more to people, right? I could have put a better message out there. And so we have to acknowledge that did happen. That was CyberFrog in the 90s, but the 90s were a very specific time period. And, that's all part of this whole thing. What changed? What changed between now and then? A lot, an awful lot. Here we meet Heather Swain. Now this is going to be very spoilery here. Here's Heather Swain. I actually redrew the page from CyberFrog #1. I just redrew this whole page, and it looks much better here than it looked in issue #1. You can go back and look at it. In issue 1, she's got like a striped button-up shirt that's tucked into her jeans, and it's purple in the book. And Kyle Ritter, God bless him, he went back. I just drew her in this denim jacket thing. Kyle went back and colored the jacket purple, and I'm like, yes, it's like those little things like that just make me so happy. I mean, Kyle paid attention, and that was his throwback, to CyberFrog #1. Was that he knew that the shirt was purple, so he made the jacket purple. This is Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly, in the original CyberFrog series, stalks Heather. If you read the original CyberFrog series, it's overblown. It's insane. CyberFrog and Heather go to hell together at the hands of this maniac. Now, everything might not have been what it seems. Okay, that's what we just want to say, because over time, I'm not going to spoil it, but over time you're going to learn what that actually was. Wrecked Planet, the book Red Extermination. After that, you're going to find out a lot more about Heather and about this guy and what he represents. He says, "Is this your shortcut through a cemetery or into one?" Why is Heather depressed? Heather's depressed because her father died in combat and her mother brought a violent, physically abusive man into their home. Chelsin, who's connected to Heather. I mean, that's something too. She discovers that, Heather's important to CyberFrog, so she connects to Heather. She says, "I could feel a darkness growing in her mind as she struggled for safety, for someone to trust, for a way to survive. But despair was closing in." All right, so this is who Heather is right now. Heather is on her last leg. Okay, she's giving up on everything because her life is just awful. And Ben is actually saying, "Look, do you want to die? Is that who you are? You want to die? Because I'll help you die." And Heather fights back. "Good for you." Kicks him in the balls. He says, "Eventually you'll give in, to your despair." All right. It was a fight she couldn't win on her own, not without rescue, not without a hero. And here we see Heather in midair, and CyberFrog saying, "I've got you," while he's flinging his tongue around, Ben Reilly's head. And Heather is just here. Now, he's carrying her. Her arms are wrapped around his neck. And Trick Ron was there to save her, and she him. He says, "I've got you. Hold on to me tight. I won't let you go." And Heather says, I'd given up. He says, "Don't ever do that, ever. As long as I breathe, I'll look out for you." And Heather says, "You promise?" He says, "I promise." So CyberFrog saved Heather Swain's life, and that's clear. He was there for her when, she had given up, and he says, "Don't ever give up ever again." So it's a pivotal moment in Heather's life. And CyberFrog the same. CyberFrog's feeling kind of down about himself. He's supposed to be a superhero, and everyone hates him. He says, "They all think I'm a monster." And Heather says, "You aren't a monster. You're CyberFrog." She gives him the name CyberFrog. Now, CyberFrog has holed up in an abandoned Camden, New Jersey row home. That's where he lives. I guess that wasn't clear because people thought that was Heather's house. No, Heather lives somewhere nice. Heather lives in an okay place. She's got, she's got money. That's not a problem. Her mom married okay. She just married a dickhead. So Heather takes the bus all the time to see CyberFrog in the heart of Camden. And if you've ever been to Camden, New Jersey, or you know anything about Camden, New Jersey, it's one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the world. It is a hellhole. It is a bomb. It's a mess. Okay, I draw it the way that it actually looks. So that's where CyberFrog can hide safely. Who's going to look for him there? So Heather is not afraid anymore. She's got CyberFrog. She's stopped being afraid. And this is her message to him. Don't let others decide who you are. You're a hero. You know that. You get to choose who you are. And then here's her message to him. You decide who you are and be that every single day. And I would give that, advice to my kids. I'd give that advice to you guys. Don't let other people define who you are. You get to choose who you are. You choose who you are, and then you try to be that every day. It's not a natural thing. It's you're just not. You're not born, nurtured into being something. You can choose to be something. You choose to be a hero. You go ahead and be a hero. This cracks me up here. The SJWs went nuts about this because here's a bus. This is a New Jersey Transit bus pulling up to Camden, and there are two black people here that you see. And Camden's it's mostly black people. New Jersey is very much very diverse, but Camden is mostly black people. And this guy who is very white, this is like every SJW's idea of what, like a white racist might look like. He's driving a bus. He says, "You sure, miss? This ain't a safe part of town." Hey, guys, SJWs, I'm making a statement there, okay? This is this guy's point of view. This guy is saying these black people make Camden unsafe. But Heather Swain, who's got chicken in her hand, says, "I'm not scared of nothing," which is something Andrea would say. That's the way New Jersey girls talk. "I'm not scared of nothing." And then she corrects herself. Anything. She's like trying to improve herself. And she walks right through Camden, not worried about anyone, finds the abandoned row home, and brings him up chicken. And this is what Heather does. Heather has decided to get herself a job. She's going to work really, really hard and get herself a car. Because if she gets a car, she won't have to take the bus anymore. So that's important. She takes the bus all the time. It sucks. It represents a lack of freedom. She's 18 years old now. She wants her own car. So she brings him chicken, and that's what she does all the time. Now this is, here we go. This is my own private joke. She got a tattoo of CYBERFROG. She's like, it's still bleeding. CYBERFROG is actually, on her shoulder now. She drew him. This is Walt Simonson's cover for CYBERFROG #1, which Heather has drawn herself and, put on the cover. Now, CYBERFROG asked the question that I asked when I saw that cover back in 1996. Why is he grinning like that? CYBERFROG's like, why am I grinning like that? That's not what CYBERFROG does. CYBERFROG and Heather at this point have been pals. They saved each other's lives. And now they hang out together all the time. Heather just wants to hang out with CYBERFROG. Who wouldn't want to hang out with CYBERFROG? And then, soon, CYBERFROG meets Salamandroid. Salamandroid finds CYBERFROG, and they all become a little bit of a family together. And that's it. I mean, they, for 2 years, this little team up operates as a superhero team up. Well, I mean, Heather goes on adventures with them, but these guys, their job is to protect Philadelphia. They find themselves fighting a gang called Rush Hour. The mob boss is named Scorpion. And he creates, robot bug gangsters. Okay, that's what CYBERFROG was in the 90s. So that's what they're doing as they're anticipating the day that comes. When the invasion finally comes, they've got to be prepared for it. But it's the 90s, and they're becoming slackers. That's the way the world was in the 1990s. So then everything goes black. Everything was fun. Look, this dude's going to eat a lot of fried chicken. Yay. But all that's gone now. Friendships didn't matter. Lives didn't matter. The work of 1,000 lifetimes didn't matter. It was erased. Everything was erased. Whoever finds this and hears this message, my name was Chelsin of Perdani. I failed you, and now I die. And here's what happened to Chelsin. She says, all hope is lost. Humanity, no one is coming to save you. You must save yourselves. All right, that's the end of part 1. So, part 1, 20 pages. This represents what would be CYBERFROG #1. If I wanted to put out like a solo, like a CYBERFROG #1 through the direct market, it would be part 1 here. It's just a 20-page, the exact size of a comic book, and it tells you everything you need to know about CYBERFROG. And it's basically just Chelsin explaining why she failed. But she doesn't explain why she failed. We're going to see why she failed here. It wasn't just that she, messed up and made CYBERFROG and Salamandroid instead of, two men, two Cybermen. She failed for a different reason. And here's part 2. This was easy to do. This is the only cheat page in the whole book. I feel so bad about this, but I really wanted to zoom in on Earth. And so I just drew circles, and I told Kyle to drop in planet Earth. And then you got this here. This page took 3 seconds to draw. And this is Bill Clinton talking, okay, as we approach planet Earth, and we see 3, 2, 1, we're live. Good evening, and here come the Vespas. And we find out in CYBERFROG 1998 why they knew it was time to come. These ships, this page was one of the first pages that I drew, and I don't know. I mean, this must have taken a week to draw in and of itself. I remember drawing some of it on a live stream with my father, looking over my shoulder, and just, I don't know. What can I tell you? I like the way I draw. I would buy this comic if I saw it. You know, I dig it. It looks great. Okay. So the Vespas are coming. We know that. And we cut away to just a little frog as he jumps into a puddle. And we see two kids, two Jersey kids dressed like it's 1998. They're probably listening to Sex and Candy, Little Hootie and the Blowfish, you know, in their headphones, if they had headphones. And they're talking like New Jersey kids. And they're just kind of sitting here talking about, talking shit. And they're waiting for their friends to show up. But their friends aren't here. And down below, this is the exact spot where CyberFrog was born and Salamandroid were born. And Chelsin has stayed below. She's dug herself deep into this pond, and she monitors everything down here. And she says, "Remain online, remain alert, high alert." Little frog swimming by. God damn this stuff! I took a lot of my life and energy to draw this book. It wasn't done. It was never done. It was never done. I'm so proud of this. This looks phenomenal. This looks better than anything I've ever done before. I'm so happy with it. How did I take CyberFrog, like a comic from the 1990s, and make it a kind of sophisticated-looking comic book? I really am pleased with this. Not to toot my own horn, but damn, kid, damn. The interconnected world, all non-human life on this planet is panicking. I cannot describe the terror. It's chemical, it's electrical, it's poisonous. It's as if the skin of the planet is crawling. Something terrible is about to happen. Now, it is the 1990s, and people just weren't all that concerned in the 1990s. This was before 9/11 happened. If you weren't around in the 90s as a teenager, you don't remember, you don't know. But the 1990s was all about being a slacker. It was all about, fuck it. That was the general attitude of the 1990s. And, most people weren't that involved in politics. They weren't that involved in what was going on around them. The whole idea was to just drop out. Beavis and Butthead. To be dumb. It's like being dumb. Being smart was bad. Being smart was something to be ridiculed. Being dumb was kind of cool. So that was the 90s, because people there was nothing. We had everything that we needed. The Reagan era had come and gone. Bill Clinton was president. The economy was great. Comics were certainly selling. But then everything changed at a certain point, and I noticed it myself. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. Here's CyberFrog's eye. We see that he just dealt with Traumadeus. Go back and read. We have CyberFrog 1998, the Ash Can, if you want to see him interact with Traumadeus. And you can see from this book exactly where the two, the Ash Can and the comic book, sort of coincide. And here's a beautiful splash page of CyberFrog. He is online, he says. He's connected to Chelsin, and he is ready to fight. But he says, "I'm taking a break. I got to rinse that horrible music out of my tympanic membrane." That was Mbop by Hanson. And he says, "Plus, I think Heather brought me dinner." I gotta yell at Somni, because every time we had a large page like this, Somni felt like he had to make the lettering bigger. And it's like, no, Somni, you don't have to make the lettering bigger. Keep the balloons normal. It's hard to tell. It was hard to tell when I was looking at it on the screen that, like, the balloons were bigger on these 2-page spreads and stuff. But next time we'll get that right. It just looks like we blew up a panel instead of, this being an actual 2 pages worth of work. All right, so this is Camden, and this is a real location in Camden. Camden, New Jersey, August 17th. This is an important date. This is the date that the invasion happens. And it is the date where Bill Clinton is answering questions about Monica Lewinsky. He's actually confessing that he lied about Monica Lewinsky. Okay? Again, now people... some people read this book and said, "This is political." It's not political, it's historical. And I knew that question was going to come up. But honestly, I need it to take place at a certain point in time. I need this book to take place in a certain point in time because in 1998, this is the event that happened. This is the biggest thing that happened in 1998. And by placing it here and saying it's August 17th, and we all remember Bill Clinton confessing. Now, I'm not making a statement about whether what Bill Clinton did was good or bad, but Bill Clinton confessing to his affair with Monica Lewinsky was a pivotal moment, and this is where our timeline and the CyberFrog timeline part ways. Okay, so this is the last moment in history that aligns with our history. This is it. Everything changes from here in CyberFrog's world. And CyberFrog's in midair thinking about chicken. And, Heather's watching this. This is important. Heather is drinking an enormous, this is the 90s. Heather is drinking an enormous soda. This is terrible for you. This is a soda. This is something that, like, Anna, that Star Wars girl, would drink. This is an awful idea to drink this kind of soda, but that's the way people were in the 90s. He says, look, I had a relationship with Monica Lewinsky that was inappropriate. In fact, it was wrong. CyberFrog just hears it was wrong, and he says it is wrong. He's very much like me. I would have done the same thing. He says, it's all kinds of wrong. The Chelsea gave us that Sin power battery. See it right here? Literally a piece of her what? A piece of her heart. And you use it to watch CNN all day. This is infinite power right here. This is a power source. This is a piece of Chelsea. She removed it from herself. It's a piece of her heart. And they're using it in this powerless Camden, burned out row home to basically run the lamp and the TV. They plug the television into it. And that's it. I mean, that's what they're doing with it. He says, now, for the love of all that's holy, is there any chicken in this joint? And Heather just says, it's over there. They're at this point, they're almost like an old married couple. Like, they're used to each other. They're best friends. She's used to his temper tantrums. And she knows, look, I'm here to watch TV. I'll bring you some chicken, and we'll hang out a little bit. All right, so what I missed? Nothing. Work. That's all she's doing is working this summer. August of 1998, she's working extra hard at the chicken place. This is funny, though. I like the way this, I don't know if it came through that well, but I layered the conversation that I layered Bill Clinton's speech with their conversation, and it would probably work funnier if it were like live, if it were acted out. So what I missed? Nothing. Work. Sal's here. I deeply regret that. That's Bill Clinton. Says he needs you. Says it's important. And then CyberFrog just doesn't even listen. He doesn't listen to her. He's just eating chicken. She says, gorge quieter. And Bill Clinton says, I can only tell you I was motivated by many factors. And CyberFrog finally takes a minute to stop eating in order to say, did Sal stop by? He didn't even hear her say, Sal's here. He's actually here. She's like, oh my God, you never listen. And that's the thing. CyberFrog is distracted. He's in his own world. He hears what he wants to hear. He doesn't really listen to Heather that much. Not at this point in their relationship. And boom, yeah, Salamandroid's been there the whole time. He's poked his head through the side of the wall, and he's been waiting for CyberFrog to come home. CyberFrog's so busy eating chicken that he didn't notice Salamandroid's head is poking through the wall. Hi. Ah! And he's just like, hey, we got to go, Trick. Rumblebee and his clone goons pollinate. You can see Salamandroid, what it actually looks like from behind the house, in the courtyard behind the row homes. And it's a bombed out disaster. Here's Salamandroid, enormous. It's all uninhabited. And that's the thing about it. It's just completely uninhabited. So Salamandroid and CyberFrog can fully function. They can live in this little world here. He says they got a bomb. They're driving it over to Scorpion. That's the mob boss that you'll meet in Reservoir Frog from 1997 over in Philly. And CyberFrog says, that's almost interesting, Sal. But you just put a huge hole in my wall. Bugs are going to get in. Bugs are going to get into that hole. As if it's a double-sided joke, as if that's, a worry. They've already, the windows are wide open. It's like bugs are going to get in anyway. But in fact, in 1998, of course, a bug does get in through that hole. Go read the 1998 Ashcan. We'll do a commentary of that too. He goes, my bad. And he's ready to go. They got to go stop the, pollinate. It's business as usual. CyberFrog would have liked to have hung out, but he can't. She says, you're leaving me? I thought you'd hop me home. And CyberFrog says, I won't be gone long. It's just Rumblebee. It's just the pollinate again. I'll go knock those guys out, knock some sense into them. I'll be right back. And she wanted to go home, and he's like, "Here, Chell, tracker. This is a tracking microbead." And he touches her right in the neck. Boom. He sticks a little implant in her neck. And she says, "If I'm late, start walking. Start walking through Camden, New Jersey in the middle of the night. Good idea." He says, "I'll find you." So now they're in midair. Salamandroid says, "Sorry about your wall. You still mad?" And Cyberfrog's like, "Nope. Nope. I have moved on. It's not healthy to stay mad at you." Salamandroid's like, "Well, why not?" He's like, "Because of that thing that happens when you get mad back." Now, we don't know it yet, but Salamandroid demonstrates in the 1998 Ashcan that he can breathe fire when he's pissed off. Like, he breathes purple flames, white hot purple flames, when he's pissed off. And so Cyberfrog's like, "Hey, it's a hole in the wall. I'd rather deal with the hole in the wall than you breathing fire all over me." And he's like, "Oh, poor Sal." He doesn't he doesn't think about things like that. He's just like, "Oh, I'm more worried about our relationship and our friendship, than whether or not you're concerned about me breathing fire on you." So he goes, "Oh, that's them down there," and you can see they're actually throwing their cars. This is the Walt Whitman Bridge that leads from New Jersey to Philadelphia. They're throwing grenades. These fucking idiots. And Cyberfrog's like, "Are those psychos throwing grenades?" All right, and then we cut back to the Pine Barrens where the Vespas have begun to descend. These lighter than air beehives. These nests that float through space. And of course, the people who we were talking to earlier, the people that we saw waiting for their friends who never arrived, are the first to witness the Vespas as they hover over the Pine Barrens. And here they come. Here come the Vespas. Very, very. I mean, they're basically just paper wasps. That's what I use for a model, but they have kind of human skeletal kind of structure underneath it, and they are nasty and mean as hell. But we don't really know them very well. We're just kind of experiencing them as kind of an elemental pest, a threat, like an alien threat that is very similar, we think, to bees and wasps. But they're very different, and we'll find that out in Wrecked Planet. And here we go. I mean, this is where we find out what they do. I mean, Chelson warned us of what these guys do. They will use human beings. You see the stinger goes, oh God, this page is beautiful. Stinger goes right through his chest in a very short amount of time. I mean, it took a split second for these guys to land. And then, of course, they suck the skin right off of this guy's skull and begin to dissolve him with a kind of acidic saliva. And they roll him up. It's like what they do is they dissolve you, roll you up into a paste. And then they just pat him into the tree. It's like they're building a nest. And she can't believe what she sees. All you can really do is just, drop the cigarette. I think that cigarette's too small. That cigarette's too small. I should have made that thicker. Drawing mistake. The cigarette falls to the ground and then immediately catches fire. The leaves are dry. They're very, very dry. It's August. Okay, so immediately the leaves catch fire. And then we learn something here. The wasp coughs. It's like the wasp would come after her, but there's fire and smoke, and the wasp doesn't like it. So it's like, and it's just standing there. It's kind of flummoxed by the smoke. And then here's the mistake. Here's what happens. Chelson, who has emotions, and who should have let these two people probably die. That's just the way it's going to be. There are going to be casualties. Chelson has feelings. And Chelson, this is where she fails. She bursts out of the water. She says, "I cannot stay below and witness any more human suffering. Vespa's parasite, you've made a terrible mistake coming here. Perdani has planted the seeds of your destruction on the sphere." Again, everything that she says is coded. You're going to learn what this is all about. This is a rather big shock to this poor girl here. But again, all she needed to do was stay hidden. You don't think the Vespas understand what Perdani has done? You don't think they understand their plan? All they need to know is where the sin is. Where's the sin located? Because if we know where the sin is located, we can take out the sin and we can shut down their agent, okay, their super agent. So this was a big, stupid error on the part of Chelson. And of course, boom, we take out the that one Vespas very easily. But here comes a whole swarm of other Vespas, and Chelsin sitting here like a dummy. I love you, Chelsin, but you're a dummy. Says, I cannot fight them all. I'm not equipped. I shouldn't have. I just couldn't bear. Human, don't look back. Run. Terrible advice. Terrible advice. Just all of this was a big mistake. This is where Chelsin failed. And CYBERFROG is going to carry this failure on his shoulders into the next issue, and it's not his fault. None of this was his fault. She's breathing, as she runs in terror. Well, one thing that you can't do if you want to stay hidden, and by the way, she's wearing red. She's got a red top. She would be able to escape if she walked away, but she ran. And when you run, you exhale carbon dioxide, which gets the Vespas high, and they know where you are. So here, here they come, and they take her out. And they take her out by just sticking, their proboscis into her throat. I was worried that this was going to look sexual. I hope it didn't look sexual at all. But it's like a cylinder going into this woman's mouth, but making her look dead. Hopefully, alleviated that. But this is the thing: stay calm. Stay calm. These things come after you. Supposedly, as long as you're wearing red, as long as you stay calm, you stay in the smoke, they're not going to find you. This is what they learn. This is what the humans learn who survive within the Pine Barrens on Interact Planet. But running, panicking, that's the worst thing that you can do. They find her, and they put her down. And by the way, I do want to point out, where did her friends go that they were waiting for? They're right here. They already got her friends. You can see a hand. They were waiting for these people to come and hang out with them, maybe get high. No, the Vespas already got them and made them into paper mache all around them. So that's the answer to where are your friends? She's they turn her blood into honey. They actually liquefy your insides, turn them into honey, and boom. I mean, they reproduce. They set everything up so quickly. They have to in order to colonize and invade the Earth, invade any planet. And here come their larvae, which are now going to feed on her body, on her blood, on her insides that's been liquefied into honey. Then they're going to chew her up and use her for housing material as well. While this is going on, the repeat of what Chelsin said. Look, their drained and empty bodies will become the nesting material. Their nesting material, blood is the nectar that becomes their honey. The Vespas will obliterate all life and destroy all of creation. All the things that we created are going to be destroyed by the Vespas. They will perch on the ashes of billions of broken dreams and broken hearts and dead dreams, and they will revel in the misery while they lay more eggs. And that's it. More of them. That's all it is. We're going to destroy everything that you built. We're going to shit on it, and we are going to build more of us. We're going to make more of us. Cut back to our heroes who still aren't aware that this is about to happen. They're just there on a simple mission. They do this all the time. This is Gray's Ferry, Philadelphia. And they know it's the... CYBERFROG's like, look, you can have the clones. There are 7 clones. It's pollinate. Let me get Rumblebee. Rumblebee's the only one who's real. Rumblebee's a real person, quote unquote. Salamandro's like, deal, that's cool. And these guys just come out. They're jackasses. Like, I dealt with so many people like this in high school. Like, this is the way Jersey dickheads talk. Looks like Jersey Corn's still in season, boys. Can't nobody do nothing without yous 2 slimy skunks showing up? Nobody invited you. Yous 2 amphibious derelicts know who this delivery's for, right? Yeah, it's for Scorpion. And CYBERFROG, look, this is the thing about Jersey. In Jersey, that's the only place where keep talking means shut the fuck up. Keep talking, Rumblebee. Keep running that big fucking mouth. Boom! I love CYBERFROG fighting Rumblebee. Love it. Fighting Rumblebee, yes. He's like throwing grenades on the bridge. You idiots could have hurt people. And again, that's what CYBERFROG's all about. And here we go. Hey, watch the truck. It's important. He's got this. Get out of here with that garbage. I'll eat the face off his skull. Get him. I want this loser. So here comes Pollen's, the other 7, bee clones. Now, here's the thing. Some people were confused. They're like, I don't understand. Why are there bees? And then later there are bees. That's the whole point of why, there was an extra few seconds of confusion when the Vespas invade. CyberFrog is fighting these bee, aliens that are not bee aliens, they're bee clones, that he always fights. And so when he sees the Vespas come, he's like, are these your guys? What the fuck is this? Like, that's, it was deliberate to choose Rumblebee. I could have chosen, any of his other villains. He's got Spite, he's got Device, he's got Tromedeus, obviously, he meets in 1998. But Rumblebee just seemed like the most practical, I don't know if it was a good choice, most practical villain for him to fight at this moment, just because I realized it would set up that extra bit of confusion. So Sal is watching all 8 now of the Pollen 8 team up on his brother, and he goes right into what he's supposed to do. My job is to protect my brother. So he picks up a Toyota Celica and smashes it into one of the, he kills. This is the thing. Like, he's like, and he says while he's doing it, he's like, I don't even think you have any feelings, so I don't mind killing you. You obviously don't care about hurting people. You don't care about hurting my brother. So I don't really give a hell. I don't care about you. I'm going to kill all of you. And it's very practical like that. It's just, I'm going to kill you. I'm allowed to do it. I'm following my prime directive. And big deal. So he's actually swinging a beat up Toyota Celica and cutting these guys in half and just, whittling their numbers down while CyberFrog chases after Rumblebee. Meanwhile, we're in Washington, D.C. again, and here we go. The invasion hits. And this is it. This is the moment where everything changes. Bill Clinton doesn't even get to finish his speech. He's tapped on the shoulder by the Secret Service, and they say, we got to get you out of here. I found out it's like Evergreen Secured, Eagle, Energy. That's Bill and that's Hillary. It's their daughter. Who's their daughter again? God, whoever. Those are their code names, Secret Service code names. Yeah, let's go. We got to get you out of here. Now, of course, after the events of Bloodhoney, there isn't going to be Chelsea Clinton. Yeah, Chelsea Clinton, I believe, is Energy. That was her code name. So, after the events of this book, there is never going to be another presidential election again. Bill Clinton's still the president of the United States in 2018 if he survived. And we'll find that out. We'll find out what goes on there. So finally they attack Philadelphia, and here they go. We're right over this shot of Philly. We're under attack, and you just see Salamandroid's voice just say, trick. Like, what is this? Like looking up at the sky. Rumblebee, is this you guys doing this? Is this you? Rumblebee's like, what are you, stupid? And it's just, I just want to get across, like, the noise. Like, zzz, just, buzzing. Like, think about 1 billion, automobile-sized hornets all buzzing at once. It's just a loud, awful noise. And, CyberFrog's connected to Chelson. He's like, Chell, is this them? Is this them? Like, come in. It's like, come in, Chelson. And then he just hears... He's like, hey, is this the Vespas? Chelson, answer. And then all he picks up is Chelson's last words, which are, human, do not look back, run. What Chelson said to that poor woman who was eaten. And CyberFrog is trying to connect. Chelson, what is this? And he lands on the truck, and here we see Scorpion's bomb. And this was being delivered to Scorpion. Don't know why. We don't know. We're not told. It was just one of those things. He was just being delivered a weapon. That's Mr. Scorpion's property. Don't touch it. Rumblebee's only worried about his loyalty to Scorpion. So I don't want your bomb, Rumblebee. We got bigger problems. Chell, is this it? Adapt me. Rapid evolve me. You said I was armed for this. And Rumblebee flees. Rumblebee just flies away, says, screw this, keep it. I'm out of here. And CyberFrog says, let's go. And boom, cybernetics offline. So for the first time in CyberFrog's life, he is offline. The little red dots disappear around him, and he realizes they're in real trouble. And he says, no, Sal, Chelson is down. That's the only reason that would happen. They already took out Chelson. So I want you to understand, these Vespas have done this from world after world after world, and they have been stopped a few times at least by this same method. They've met cyber beings like CyberFrog. They've met him. They've met people like him, and they understand that, in some cases, when there is a sin operating and controlling and, adapting and evolving the hero of each one of these worlds, they're nearly unbeatable. I mean, it's like they can actually put back, they can force back the invasion. So Chelsea really shouldn't have revealed her location, and by doing that, the Vespis won. That's what it was. I mean, they just shut her down. They left CyberFrog as just one guy trying to cope with all this with his brother Salamandroid, and there is no hope. They have no access to whatever it is, whatever weapon that was within CyberFrog that would have stopped all this. And here come the Vespis. This is a great drawing. Very proud of this. Salamandroid's screaming. He's panicking now. The sky is on fire. What is going on? Imagine looking up and seeing this. It's like it would just be horrible. And it's like, yeah, like they're panicking now. Salamandroid's like, I can't even hear myself think. What's happening, Trick? And CyberFrog's just like, fuck, what? Like, we're gonna die, but we gotta stay cool, stay frosty, Sal. Right here, right now. This is our entire reason for existing. This is why we're here, bro. And I mean, this is the thing. Like, they know their purpose. I mean, so it's a wonderful advantage to just understand this is why you are here. This is do or die. Even without Chelsea, we need to stand and fight this. Be brave. And Salamandroid can't. He's just freaking out. The noise, they're getting closer. He's a dog. Salamandroid's a big puppy. He's like so many. They're all coming at him, and he's just trying to remember what Chelsea said to him. He's like, worthy of my purpose. And then they just take out Salamandroid. So, I mean, all of them just attack him at once. And I don't think he was ready for it at all. I mean, his job was to protect CyberFrog. And these guys are smart. I mean, the Vespis know what they're doing. And CyberFrog punches one in the head, explodes it, and just says, Sal. I can't see him. They swarmed him. They took him out first. They're smart. CyberFrog realizes that these guys are smart invaders. They're intelligent and they know what they're doing. He says they must have found Chelsea and took her out the same way. Take away my weapons, my resources, and isolate me. And that is how to do it, everyone. Isolate your target. Remove all resistance. And then he realizes as he's fighting. That's just sad. I mean, just one frog fighting all of this. He realizes that he's left Heather alone. And that's the thing. So Vespis are attacking this truck. They're taking out all the humans. And CyberFrog is still fighting, sitting on this truck with a bomb on it, dummy. He says, how can there be this many of you? Back up off of me. Give me some space. And then he sees this truck driver panicking. He's about to slam into the back of the truck. And then, boom, sets off Scorpion's bomb. And that's the end of CyberFrog. He's dead. I mean, he's on the verge of death as he sinks into the Schuylkill River. People in Philadelphia know the Schuylkill River. And there he sits. These cells grow on top of him. These purple cells grow and cover him up and protect him. He's instantly scabbed over by these regenerative, restorative fuel cells. And there he sits at the bottom of the Schuylkill River for, as it turns out, 20 years. So this is part 3. And CyberFrog wakes up. He opens his eyes. The fuel cells are dissipating now, and CyberFrog is healed. He's fully healed. I mean, he can hibernate and he can heal himself. And so jumps to the top of the water, surfaces, and this is what's become of Philadelphia. So this is the shock, horrible page of, this is what failure looks like. This is what failure looks like. It's like your whole purpose was to protect, this planet, and here's your own little area of the planet, and Philadelphia has been taken over. And it's been that way for 20 years. So, what are you going to do? CyberFrog is shocked. And what do? He just lets himself fall to the bottom of the Schuylkill River, jumps up with a tummy full of air, and then does something called Thunder Croak. And he does Thunder Croak out of just agony. I had some people ask me that over the weekend. They said, "Why did he do Thunder Croak then?" It's like, I was at a convention and they were asking me about this scene. I was like, because what do? He was screaming. It's like this is. everything's gone. Everything is gone. He failed. He failed. He's just screaming now. He is in agony. And he falls to the ground. I really like this page. He says, "Is this still Earth? It's like Planet of the Apes now." Now, when he thunder croaks, there's just this one panel here. This panel here leads right into Wrecked Planet. Okay, so I mean, it's like I laid this out pretty carefully. Somebody, obviously, notices him. He says, "How long have I been out? Where's Heather?" And surprise, surprise, the tracking bead still works that he planted in her neck, the micro bead. And he says, "Yeah, I left the tracker on her. Is she okay? I gotta find her." So he jumps. And here we go. This is the Pine Barrens, and this is one of the most important pages. This lays it all out to you. It lets you know exactly everything that you need to do in order to survive in this day and age. You hear Heather's voice. She says, "I know you're tired of hearing it, but you need to listen to me. People who don't follow the rules disappear. They die. Stay focused and listen to your mother. Rule number 1 is to stay in the woods. Stay in the woods. They can't fly very well with everything so close together. There's no room for a big flying insect with a 15-foot wingspan to fly around in trees like this. So stay in the woods. Rule number 2 is to stay in the smoke. Okay, there's always smoke. You can see smoke rising. They're always burning wood. They're always keeping smoke around. Stay in the smoke and keep the fires burning. Fire hurts them. Use it. Rule number 3 is the hardest. Never panic. Don't run from them. They can smell your breathing when you're scared, and they like it. And here we see Lily for the first time. Lily is 10 years old. And Lily has never known a world that wasn't invaded by the Vespa. She never knew the human world. So Lily has a look about her, as you can see, of I don't think she's had a childhood. She says, "I know, Mom. Rule number 4, always wear red." And then she says, "My dad wasn't wearing red." No, he wasn't wearing red. He was wearing green. We'll meet her dad in the next issue. No, he wasn't. They can't see us when we wear red. We're invisible to them. Okay, that's what they believe. So far, yeah, it's kept us safe. When you go out, remember the rules. And this is the house. Okay, you get to see this little glimpse of Heather's house in the woods, in the Pine Barrens, just surrounded by trees. We'll find out her name is Lily. "Hey, Lily, want to feed the chickens with me?" And she says, "I can't, Megan." This is a member of the community here, Queen Bee. This is Queen Bee's daughter who passed on. And Queen Bee asked that her daughter Megan be memorialized in this comic book. So Megan is a character. Megan will be in the next issue too. Megan plays a role in Wrecked Planet. She goes, "Where are you going?" And Lily says, "To look for him." To look for him. And doesn't go very far. A few steps later, CYBERFROG's already there. Hi? I don't think she says it like that, though. I think she says, hi. CYBERFROG says, "Don't be scared. I won't hurt you. I'm looking for a friend of mine." And what does Lily say? "I'm not scared of anything." It's like a little different from her mom, who ain't scared of nothing. Lily isn't scared of anything. She says, "I know who you are." I know who. She says, "I know you. I know who you are. My mom's got a tattoo of you. It looks just like you." Which is funny because CYBERFROG really didn't think it looked like him very much. CYBERFROG says, "Your mom? How long have I been out?" It's like, "Hey, Mom, CYBERFROG's back, and here's Heather." Froggy. End of part 3. This is the first. This is the first book. This is the first issue of CYBERFROG, and there will be many, many more to come. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through CYBERFROG 1998, and we're going to look at that together because that's important to kind of underscore what all of this means and what it is. But the book ends on CYBERFROG and Heather reuniting. Now, a lot of people said this is a lot of setup. It's a lot of setup. Yeah, I guess it is. Look, CYBERFROG season 1 is the whole story. I need to end here because Wrecked Planet ends on a similar note. I know it sucks to say that, but it's like they're going to end. The first 3 issues are going to end kind of the same way. So you'll see what that means when we get there. Yeah, so let me see. Do I have a copy of 1998 around here? I hope I do, so I can just instantly go right over to that. Oh, what is this here? Yes, yes, yes. Now we got 20 pages of bonus materials in the back. All this stuff that you could look at if you wanted to about the evolution of CyberFrog. Beautiful Kyle Ritter pinups. Who knew Kyle could draw? We didn't even know that back then. Of course, now we can. And then the CyberFrog thank you page in the back. And a beautiful mirror. Look at the beautiful mirrored back cover here. CyberFrog BLOODHONEY, the best work of my career. The best work of my career. I'm so proud of this. So proud of it. All right, so here we go. This is CyberFrog 1998. People had to wait a little bit longer for this installment. This is 20 more pages of story. If you don't have this yet, I'm gonna I'll give you another opportunity to pick up this ashcan. It's gonna be, it's important. And people, the reaction that I'm hearing from people is that, this really helps. If you read CyberFrog BLOODHONEY and then read 1998, it thoroughly enhances your experience, so you understand more about what's going on. It's more dimension, okay, to the story. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Cody Duffin says, "Is that my copy?" No, this is my copy. Yours should be in the mail. Everything is in the mail now, except for Second Chance stuff, and even most of the Second Chance stuff is in the mail. So if you don't have it yet, by the way, if you don't have it and you haven't read it, you don't have to watch this. This, of course, is spoilery. I'm giving you spoilers here. All right. Darren says, was wondering if the CyberFrog proof copy comic has been shipped yet. Yes, it has. Proof copies are out the door, and many people are getting them. All right, so here we go. This is CyberFrog 1998. The Diary of Heather Swain. So this is going to be from Heather's point of view. We're going to find out, we're going to realize as we read it that this is Heather's diary from the year 2018. Okay, so she's older now. She's no longer 18 years old. She's 38 years old and a mother who's been through an awful lot. All right, here we go. This is where we find out exactly what Heather knows about what happened to planet Earth. And she says, they must have been planning to invade us for decades. They needed to test us, to taste us, make sure we were ripe for harvest. And even then, and this is 1986 here, so I mean, like, they were sending feelers and messages to Earth as far back as 1986. And I use real events, a couple of real events, to actually illustrate some of the results of the Vespas thinking about invading. Even then, God, this is sick, and this guy's being chased here. This is a guy who might be Dan Rather, but he's not Dan Rather, but maybe he's Dan Rather, but he's not. And this guy attacks him and punches him and says, "The frequency, what is it?" And he's punching him and, beating the living shit out of this guy who's kind of Dan Rather. And he says, "What's the frequency, Kenneth? What's the frequency?" All right, so Dan Rather, of course, heard that as, "What's the frequency, Kenneth?" But no, Ken is one of the Vespas. And he's begging. This guy is begging, for the Vespas to come to Earth. He's begging. He's given up. Heather says, they wanted us to invite them in. They wanted our consent. What kind of disgusting animals would say, we want you to beg us to invade, dominate, and destroy you? We want your consent. Say please, and then we'll do it. That's who the Vespas are. And here we go. 1998 now. Early 1998, I think January 5th, 1998. Somebody who looks like Sonny Bono, but is not Sonny Bono. So they filled the air with white noise, the right sound at the right frequency, a whispery, humming static that all of us heard, but few understood. So we all heard it in 1998. We all heard a noise in the air, but none of us really knew what it was. Sonny Bono thought somebody was calling him. It sounded Sonny Bono. It sounded like that to him. He said, "What?" and slammed into a tree, dead. The Vespas actually killed Sonny Bono. That's how the new year began. On the last year, printed on a calendar that I ever saw. 1998 was the end of the world. Only a few weeks later, we answered them. And we see this guy in silhouette entering, he's walking towards Radio City Music Hall on the biggest stage, broadcast out to tens of millions of viewers. We unconsciously returned the frequency as we understood it. And although no one realized what was happening, this is the Grammys. This is the Grammy Awards in 1998. No one realized what was happening. We laughed, we gossiped, and what we thought was a silly postmodern kabuki dance actually granted consent to the destruction of the human race. Now, this was the Grammy Awards. Obviously, this is Bob Dylan here who's performing. And out of the blue, as we're watching this performance on the Grammy Awards, this weirdo took off his shirt, ran up on stage. It said soy bomb on his chest and on his abdomen. And he started gyrating and dancing. You can find the clip of this on YouTube if you don't believe me. It was very weird. And everybody the next day was like, ha, soy bomb. What the hell? Soy bomb. What a weirdo. There was a purpose. That was a coded message to the Vespas. Okay? This guy is the guy who got the frequency and returned it. To him, that noise sounded like soy bomb. And that is what he is telling them in return. Heather says, maybe we thought we had it coming. Maybe we didn't believe it was even possible. Maybe some of us wanted to find out that it was, to feel something again. This was the 90s, in Heather's view. We'd grown bored, complacent, and spoiled. Our greatest heroes were memorialized in our past, and our worst villains had become black and white relics that we told ourselves we needed to remember lest we find them reflected in ourselves. But self-reflection was impossible. We were filled with MTV, sneaker ads, junk food, Oprah Winfrey's bromides, placating the dumbest and cruelest of us. What were we even here for? What were we here for? What was humanity for at that point? Well, why were we even here? When the Vespas came, they showed us the value that still remained in us. We were utterly worthless, but we were their food. We were food for them. We were livestock. We were human livestock. Our flesh was dried, stretched, and used to build hives. My friends were supposed to stop them. Heather's friends. So what do I recall on the last day that I wasn't afraid? Remember, Heather always said I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm not afraid of anything. That was the last day. She said, on the last year I saw a calendar. On the last day that I saw my best friends. Let me fix my headphones here. She said, I remember it was a completely normal day. Around 11 a.m., I went to work at Chicken Fry and burned my wrist on the hot fryer. I was working more summer hours than anyone else because I was saving for a car. A car meant no more bus schedules. A car meant I could finally tell my mom and Eric, by the way, I named her stepfather Eric, after Eric Larson, fuck you, Eric, to go to hell. And of course, now both of them are dead. Almost everyone is dead. And then there was Froggy and Sal. All right, so I remember this. The Ron, but because I'm clever, I called him Salamandroid, or Sal for short. Oh man, I wish you'd seen him. He looked like a beautiful blue dragon, but he was nice, like a puppy dog. Big sweetheart, unless you mess with his brother. Anyhow, Sal told me he had a meetup with Shockroach, a member of Rush Hour, the superpowered organized crime syndicate. Yeah, back then, Philadelphia was infested with these weirdo insect-human hybrids and clones. They were always up to no good. Seems quaint now. The days of superheroes fighting supervillains. And here's Shockroach. And he says, yes, you magnificent animal. Come closer. That's close enough. Heel. You want to know about the bomb? Roll over. Beg. Do a trick for me. And here we go. Salamandroid just pissed off. Purple fire. Sal got tipped off that Pollinate and Rumblebee were going to drive a bomb across the Walt Whitman Bridge that evening to be delivered to Scorpion, boss over most of Philly. Why? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But that's what he told Froggy when they both met up at the house later. Here's CyberFrog. Don't you do it. Don't type. Terry, stop typing. Terry, stop typing. At that moment, Trick Ron, or CyberFrog, was busy downtown with this wacko. And here's Tromedeus. Everybody wants to know more about Tromedeus. He's a fan favorite at this point. And Tromedeus is singing Bop on a digital kind of piano construct. CyberFrog's like, nah, you sick bastard. All right, so Tromedeus was some kind of Frankenstein's monster street musician made of organ parts instead of organs and parts. He could create digital piano keys out of thin air, and he played music that hurt people. That's not nice. Heather says, I met him once. He smelled horrible and sounded worse. I always felt like the cops should handle nuisances like this. We got nuisances here in Comicsgate, too. I'm a nuisance. But I guess nobody in the public sector was paid enough to deal with the chattering zombie performing Barbie girl loud enough to split your skull. And I think that's partially why this happened, okay? Heather is working out why we were victims. We weren't motivated anymore, not even to defend ourselves from extinction. Froggy and Sal left to deal with the bomb. Remember when they left her there? And here she is. She just sat there and watched the rest of the speech as it ended. Froggy and Sal left me to deal with the bomb, and Bill Clinton says, that is all I can do, and it's cut the live feed, and the channel just goes into color bars. Heather says, what is going on? She's still got her juice. She's still got her soda. She goes to the window and looks out, and red is pouring in the window. She slurps on her soda as one of the anchors from the Vespa ship goes right by her window. She drops the soda. She says, I used to like to brag that I wasn't afraid of anything. And Heather looks up. What the? She's like, this is when that stopped. So she's experiencing the Vespas invasion in Camden, New Jersey. She says the noise was unbearable at first. However, see, bugs are going to get in, Sal. Sal, you put a hole in my wall. Bugs are going to get in. Yep. However, in a moment, I could only hear the beating of my heart. And here is the gigantic Vespas, right in front of her here. And she's got the chicken bucket on the floor still, right where CYBERFROG left it. All right. And Chelsin's heart, remember, CYBERFROG's mother's heart. CYBERFROG had just moaned at me for only using it as a power source to watch CNN all day. And the heart starts to talk, okay? He promised he'd come back for me. He stuck a tracker on me, but I never saw him again. Chelsin's heart spoke, and it sounded like my own mother singing to me when I was underwater, when she washed my hair as a child, and I knew she wanted me to run away. And it's like, the way I wrote that, I was thinking, that's kind of like double. It means her mother, it means Heather's mother, and it also means Chelsin's heart is telling her to run away. So Chelsin's heart is actually saying the same thing that it told that, blonde chick in the woods, human, run. Heather is hearing that. It's in a different language, but Heather's also saying, I think my mom wanted me to run away, because she knew she put me in a bad spot, with my stepfather. So Heather says, so I did. And then, boom, the heart just comes to life and blows the living hell out of the Vespas that's in the house. So Heather runs. And she says, just my heartbeat, only silence as I watch the human race surrender to destruction. Though for the life of me, I can't recall. I must have screamed. Still, I know I never gave up on my own life. Never gave up on my own life. Never again. This is all very important Heather Swain stuff. I mean, you're going to find out a lot about Heather. And she jumps in front of a police car and says, stop, wait for me. And then she gets in and goes, go, go. What is this? And the cop, who we don't really see, we just see a shadow, says, you mean you don't know? It's the end of the world. What a weird thing for a fucking cop to say, right? It's the end of the world, and just to keep driving. He says it was bound to happen eventually. Heather says, we drove for 15 minutes that seemed like hours, out of Camden and towards the Pine Barrens, which are not too far away. Conversation got strange. I hadn't realized, and here he is as honey starts to leak out of his face, out of his nose. And he just starts to babble shit. He says, is this how you do? And she's like, is this what? And he says, intermuscular between the exits. So sweet. And he's just dripping honey. This is the way it works. The Vespas can actually, fertilize you. They can pollinize you and let you just walk around for a little while. And as your insides break down, you're normal for a little while, right? But as your insides break down, you start babbling bullshit. It's going to be really, really fun. You'll find a lot of humans in the next few issues are going to seem normal for a little while until they start saying weird shit and start bleeding honey. And Heather says they'd already gotten him. This poor cop began speaking gibberish, which is what happens as your insides are slowly broken down, liquefied, becoming their honey. And here he is, just all over the ground here, to feed their larvae. She says, we crashed hard. I don't remember feeling that either. I do remember the wet leaves and pine needles hitting my face and arms as I fled into the trees. And here's how we know. I mean, this is everything. This is kind of how we know, why it's the best thing to do to stay in the woods. Here's a Vespus caught in the trees. Like, he's flipping all around. He can't use his wings right. He's just, and Heather sees him. She's hiding behind the trees. This is somebody who actually paid to be a guest in the book. Somebody actually dropped some money to be a character in CYBERFROG. There's going to be another opportunity to do this. This guy is an important character, but this is him in 1998. So this is a gentleman who wanted to be in the book, and so is this. This guy paid to be killed in the book. Hey, stay put. I got this one. And he just hits it with, machete here. It's immobilized. It was pretty easy to kill it with a machete while it's caught in the trees. He says, "You can come out now, miss. These things don't do so well here. The trees are too close together for them to fly." He's wearing red. He says, "I'm Colin." And indeed, Colin is the name of the guy who bought the survivor perk. He says, "If you'd like, you can follow me to safety. I've got a place." And Heather's just happy with that. She says, "Okay." Finally, someone who wasn't giving up, a survivor. This is how Heather thinks. It's like, look, she survived. She survived her stepfather. She survived. She's been hanging out with CYBERFROG. The last thing that she's going to do is just, if she's going to die, she's going to go down swinging. She is not going to give up. And the fact that she's watching the rest of the world just kind of fall to the Vespus makes her sick. She doesn't like it. It's like, fight for yourself. So that's who Heather Swain is. She respects and appreciates people who fight for their own lives. And here they are walking through the woods. And Colin is saying, "So, we wear red. These things look like wasps, and that's the only color wasps can't see, and that's a true fact. Wasps cannot see the color red." He says, "We're invisible to them." And Heather says, "Really?" "Cooper, this is Colin. Come in, son." Now, this is interesting. Like, he calls this boy son, and this boy calls him his dad, but he uses his first name to him. And here's Cooper right here, standing over this thing. He says, "Cooper, this is Colin. Come in, son." He says, "I'm right in front of you. Can't you see me?" And, Colin looks a little bit pissed off there. He's like, "Of course I can see you. Over and out. Cooper, this is Heather Swain. She's going to be staying with us." And Heather says, "Hey, Cooper." Here is Cooper here. Cooper is another survivor perk guy. I think his dad paid for him to be in the book, so he is important. He's going to be in the next issue too. But he's going to be older because this is 20 years later. He says, "Hey, Heather, my dad needs glasses, especially at night, but he won't wear them. Colin was a survivalist. He believed nuclear war was inevitable. So do I. And he says he believes nuclear war was inevitable and that New Jersey was a prime target. So he buried a bus 20 feet underground back in 1986. And there they go, down into the bus. Your turn," says Cooper. And Heather goes down into the silo to go into the bomb shelter. Okay, and that's it. I mean, they're in a bomb shelter now. It's got all the supplies that they need. Colin is ready to. He wants to survive. He's buried this bus. He's been anticipating that something like this is going to be happening, or it will happen forever. And he's pretty excited about it now. He says, "You'll be safe here until it's all over." And Matt, this is Heather. Here's Matt. Matt might be in the chat right now. He's another survivalist. He's another survivor perk. But behind Matt, Heather sees Ben Riley for a second. And Heather, puts her hand over her mouth in shock and horror. Matt says, "You okay, Heather?" And Heather, touching her neck, where CYBERFROG left the tracker, says, "He'll find me. It's going to be okay." And then Heather goes back to her diary. "I'm keeping this diary to remind myself," and this is everything that's important to Heather. This is who Heather is. "I'm keeping this diary to remind myself. I need to remember how things were." And you're going to immediately forget how things were. As civilization collapses, Let's remember how things were, uh, and how quickly our lives change. And damn, is that true? I think anybody who's suffered loss, who's had a family member die, who's been through any kind of tragedy that's changed their lives, can appreciate that, like, our lives can change like this. So when it's good, yeah, the bottle does say Jack Show. When it's good, remember that it was good. Remember why. And also, Heather says, I've learned to value what I have. And this is very important. You know, it's like, appreciate the things that you have. Appreciate your home, this community, and my daughter Lily, because it can be taken from you in an instant, like her father was. We're going to learn all about her father, Lily's father. It's been 20 years since the day the world ended. It's now 2018. And by the way, I think CyberFrog is going to take place in 2018. It's just, I don't think I'm going to advance it to 2000. I think it's always going to be 2018. You know, like Lost was always 2004. I think it's just always going to be 2018, but I might change my mind. It's been 20 years since the day the old world ended. And here's Heather. Nice booty. She says, and we've survived by following the rules. Stay in the trees, stay near the smoke, wear red outdoors, never panic. We can do it. We can live without. And then you hear Lily say, Mom, CyberFrog is back. Okay, so this is Heather hearing the scene that we saw at the end of CyberFrog Bloodhoney. Continued in CyberFrog Wrecked Planet. Coming soon. Coming soon. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait for you guys to find out what happens next. That is CyberFrog 1998, and that is the whole of CyberFrog Bloodhoney. These two books together. You know, I'm proud of it. I think it's good. And yeah, A Wrecked Planet is going to be an absolute delight. If you enjoyed CyberFrog 1998 and CyberFrog Bloodhoney, I really think Wrecked Planet is going to be for you. We're done the exposition. We've met our characters. We know who they are. We know what they want out of life. I think we've got a good sense of you know, what they believe and where they're going and what they want and what they need to do. Wrecked Planet is going to pick up right where Bloodhoney left off. I want them to connect the way Walking Dead connects from issue to issue, moment to moment. So we're going to pick up right where that left off. Then we've got the Ash Can, which I think I'm going to do as a full-size book. If we make a lot of money, I think we're going to do okay. I think we're going to be able to afford to do this. It's going to be called Salamandroid Death's Sting, and you're going to find out how Salamandroid died. You're going to find out what happened to Sal. You know, so I don't know. I really hope you dig it and all of that stuff. And thank you. And let me see what's going on in the chat here. Yeah. Let's see. Or did he? Dun dun dun. Thank you, Al M, for $2. All right. I'm gonna unplug my phones here. I'm gonna talk into the air, and my phone is gonna die unless I plug it back in. So I better do that. I'm gonna continue this conversation. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna pick up your super chats. I see that there were a few, and thank you for that, guys. That was fun. I wanted to do that for a long time. I wanted to talk about my own work. Everybody else gets to. Why don't I get to? Okay, Eric Lavoie says, you skipped my super chat on the other stream. Oh, shit. Chengiz Khan says, yo, EVS, just got my copy of CyberFrog today and just finished reading it. Can't wait for the next book. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thunderbird is a new member. Thank you for joining. You're going to get a Heather Swain exclusive trading card. All channel members, all people who join the channel are going to get card number 3 that's only for channel members. Nobody else is going to be able to get it. Kamara says, hey, EVS, I emailed you a question about CyberFrog. All right, I'll look at it. DJ2K says, yo, I sent a super chat on the last stream asking if my first Chromium replacement was sent out. Also, I did a review for 1998 on my YouTube channel. Oh, I saw it. I don't know, DJ2K. Let me look into it. I'm not sure. We're sending out replacements as quickly as we can. I can't say if yours has been sent out or not because I don't remember, but I will look into it. Christian Zanier says, live in it. Hey, Ethan, did you get my follow-up emails? Follow-up emails. Let me look at that too. Guys, I don't know. I don't know any of this stuff right now. I'm in the middle of doing sketch covers and stuff. We have to connect on emails and stuff. You know, Simon Sympothier says, less than a month to back Blood Hunt. Payback is a bitch. Now on Indiegogo, in demand. Go check it out. Hail Cyberfrog rocks. Steam Metal says, I have the page with Clinton and I got it nicely framed. It must have been hard work to draw that city. I can see you started with the Washington Monument, but decided to draw the White House. Yeah, Eve says, I want Salamandroid to fill the wasp with fear. They're boogeyman. Everywhere he goes, he leaves a mountain of dead wasps, a raging beast they run from. You'll see. Salamandroid plays a very important role in the next book, but it might not be what you want. Tyler Preston says, is Eric Larson in any way related to Bray? He might as well be. Trencher1375 says, I hope Traumadeus survived into the future. We'll see. Optimus Deadpool says, hey, Ethan, thanks for stopping by earlier. I hope it wasn't too boring for you. No, it was funny. Thank you, Optimus Deadpool. And Al M, thanks for $2. Jim414 just joined the channel. He's going to get a Heather Swain trading card. 200 Watt Studio says, did you see my email about the damaged team-up cover? Now all my super chats are people saying I need replacements for my books. I don't know if I saw it or not. I'll go back and look. I go through the emails once a day, and I forward them to fulfillment for replacements. So don't worry. What we're going to do is we are going to probably next week we're going to finalize. We're just going to assume that the books reached everybody, and then all of the campaigns I'm going to add an update with the email address for replacements. It'll just be easier if we do it in a wide sweeping way like that, because it's like some people, I'm getting messages like, where's my book? Where's my book? And then like literally 2 hours later, I get another email from them going, I just got it. I'm sorry for freaking out. And it's like, I know that's the whole thing. Like, just wait, calm down. Let's wait for all the books to arrive. But I think by next week, most like 98% of the books that were mailed will be at their destinations. And at that point, if you didn't receive it, probably it got lost in the mail somewhere. Or if you received yours damaged, we need to replace it, and we will, we'll take care of it at that point. Vladimir Putin, thanks for joining the channel. You will receive a Heather Swain trading card. Chaos Kid 24 says, your reading showed us how much you truly love your work. Really enjoyed it. Hail Caesar. I hope so. I do. I really, really love CyberFrog, and I put a lot into it. It's not something that I'm just kind of goofing off with. I'm putting my heart and soul into it, and it has a direction. It's going somewhere. I know how it ends. I know where it goes. It's so fun, guys. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Brian Babin's a new member. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. All right, let me see. Let me go back to the chat now. I wonder how I can do that. Can I blow up the chat? Viewer activity. This is top chat. If I just open up live chat, and then what does this do here? If I click on this, pop out chat. Oh, that looks nice. All right, now I can actually read you guys. This is nice. I've never done this before. All right, I'm gonna read your comments, guys. Lily is 10 years old in 2018, so she was born after the invasion. Right, Miss Sweetie. Evidently, Heather met a man, when she was in her 20s, and they had a baby together, and that's Lily. And he is gone. Okay, he went missing. And the thing is, if you kind of put two and two together, he might not be dead. We've never seen him. We didn't see him get eaten. Heather didn't see him get eaten. He just disappeared. He never came home. So Lily goes out looking for him all the time. And I think Heather has kind of given up on him a little bit more. But Lily wants her dad back. I think Heather assumes he's dead. We'll find out the truth next issue. Let's see. If we don't get the ash can, do we let him know then? Yeah. I want to know if people are getting the amphibionics replacements that went out. That's important that I know that. Ken Jack Ben says, I saw so much Ethan on the pages. That book, it's like the line from the Christmas story, come in and know me better, man. Andrew Taz says, where's my book, Pie Man? Oh, it's right here, actually. Yes, somebody yelled at me and said, I'm going to see you in person. And then like 2 hours later, he's like, I got my book. I want to apologize. It's like, gosh, guys, you're getting your books. It's a big thing, though. This is a big fulfillment process. I didn't realize what it was going to be like. We sent out 30,000 packages. And when you're doing that one by one, You guys wouldn't even believe it. I mean, it is a big, big effort. And the problem that I have with it, the thing that I really hate, and I think you guys hate too, is that they come staggered. Like some people get their books before other people, and everybody's impatient. Nobody wants to be the last to read it. They want to, they want to read it as soon as they can. We're gonna fix all that. It's gonna be much, much better, much more smooth with Wrecked Planet and Death's Sting. You guys will enjoy. Hopefully, you'll all get them close to the same time. Let's see. Kill someone we don't know, but kill Sal, says Jared Weaver. Miss Sweetie says, please don't kill Sal, the sweet little puppy dog. Well, I mean, look, Chelson said, die for your brother. So, yeah. Green Cecil says, rest in peace, Sal and Lily. Mr. CPU says, don't get violent about fulfillment, guys. Yeah, please don't. It's coming, guys. Nobody, like, the last thing I want to do is not get you your books. I want you to get your books, and I want them to be in mint condition. And we have plenty of books, so you will get them. You paid $25 for, the book, $25 for the Ashkens. You deserve to have perfect copies, and you deserve to get them as soon as you possibly can. Yeah, Rusty Shackleford says, I'm broke. I wish I could have bought them. Well, I mean, hopefully you'll have another chance, Rusty, and, always check eBay. Dr. Mantis Toboggan says, how much is the tier to be Heather's lover in Wrecked Planet? Heather might have given up on men for a little while, Let's see. Go back Sovereign. Huerta is a legend. Help a brother out. Hail. Yeah, absolutely. Sovereign on Indiegogo. Andrew Huerta is amazing. Luminous Path 13 says, how should I contact you for a replacement? You can contact me at ethan12032@gmail.com, or you can wait for the new email address that's going to pop up. I'm opening 2 new emails. One is going to be an email that's only for channel members, and that way you guys can send me your addresses. I'm going to make something new every month. It's going to be a small something or other, but I want to reward channel members with physical perks instead of just, here's a live stream. A trading card. I'll do a Tromadeus trading card, a Rumblebee trading card, Shockroach trading card. Every month, there should be something that you get for being a channel member. So I'm going to open up a email address for that so that you guys can send me your mailing addresses. Also, there's going to be a new email address for replacements. And that's going to go straight to fulfillment, because right now, like, all of the fulfillment or replacement requests are going to my personal email, and my personal email is jacked up. I mean, it is stuffed with messages from people, and it's like every time there's, like, even compliments. I mean, people saying I got my book and it's wonderful. Like, it's piled up. It's so much work. I want all these messages to go straight to fulfillment, because I end up having to just forward them to fulfillment. It might as well go straight to them. Eve says, at least have Sal die hurting the wasps. Plan badly. We'll see. Chengiz Khan says, keep Salamandroid alive. He needs more love. We'll have to see how it goes. That's the story. I mean, look, things don't always go the way that you want them to go. CG Raven B says, Shockroach is awesome. The thing with Sal needs to be a Zaxi moment. Listen to your audience, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. The decision's already been made. It's already built into the story. You guys, did you see how I kind of foreshadow everything that comes, everything that happens? It's already in there. Like, if you actually read the story carefully, you're going to see what happens to Sal. It's already in there. Let's see. Ethan's going to take care of his fans. He lived through the perversion Disney did to Star Wars and disrespect they did for the fans. He won't do that to us. Of course not. Chili Peen says, did anyone else not open your card pack the game with the comic? I think a lot of people kind of kept their cards closed. I have crates and crates of, like, opened ones. And I don't even know what I'm going to do with them. I just have the cards. And I took them to the convention at Garden State Comic Fest over the weekend and just put them out on the table for free. I mean, here, get a free card. But I don't really know what I'm going to do with the rest of them. I'll figure out a way. Mr. Jackpot says, Heather is card number 3, who are 1 and 2. That's Salamandroid and CYBERFROG. And they came with the first 3 campaigns. Okay, so if you backed CYBERFROG Chromium 1 or 2, cover A or cover B, or the team-up cover, you received cards 1 and 2. Trencher1375 says, I hope the next book is bigger. I am willing to pay more for an expanded story. I'm gonna do what I can. The thing is, again, we had issues. People were upset over, the thinness of the paper here. This is 80 pages. I know it looks thin, but it's 80 pages. And the thing is, using chromium, you have to kind of keep the book like this thickness, or else it doesn't work. That's what they were telling me. It just doesn't work. It doesn't bind properly. So the paper had to be kind of thin. They told me, look, if you make the book 48 pages, you can keep it chromium and it'll all work. We can use better paper on the interior. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm telling the story. I think it's going to be 48 pages, but it could be longer. We'll see. Let's see. Yeah, this is the length of the story is what it is. Really, the only way to really draw it out would be to just kind of do more splash pages and double page spreads. Those make the story page count longer, but I already know the beginning and the end of Wrecked Planet, so that is what it is. Wow, people are really upset about killing Salamandroid. Chili Peen says, at the time I used my last $30 for Bigfoot Bill and it never came, and I got no response or any way of getting a refund. Oh, that's too bad. Sulfur X says, Uncle E, 3 months until I launch my graphic novel on Indiegogo. Yeah, I love Salamandroid too. I told Zach early on, I said, when we were in the middle of fighting, the SJWs all the time, I feel close to CYBERFROG. Like, I feel like there's a lot of me in CYBERFROG. And I said, Salamandroid is kind of like you. I see you as my big brother. You're somebody who takes a lot of bullets for me, and I appreciate you. And he was like, well, what do you mean by that? I'm Salamandroid. I was like, yeah, kind of in a way. There's a little bit of Zach in Salamandroid too. Trencher says, I gladly pay for 180 pages. I love CYBERFROG. Yeah, I would, but I wouldn't be able to get it out this year. I have to get the next installment out quickly and then move on to Rainbow Brute. Rainbow Brute's got to come out. Trevor writes this. He wants us to buy a Salamandroid action figure that will be dead. I like it. The Salamandroid Ash can, you guys are really going to like. Well-read user said, Dave Sim is nuts, but he would have been amazing writing CYBERFROG. Yeah, but you know what? Dave Sim, here's the thing about CYBERFROG. Dave Sim pitched kind of an idea, and it was CYBERFROG licks his own back and trips out, and it was just like, God damn it. No. I understand that the book's called CYBERFROG, and that's goofy, but, it's real. It's not silly. It's real. So, I don't know how well that would have worked out. It would have been kind of a comedy, stupid bullshit, so... who knows? It would have been interesting, but it wouldn't have been this. It wouldn't have been what it was meant to be. Yeah. And every time I work with another writer on a story that I have, it's always shit. It's always bad. Gail Simone writing Composites and Firestorm was garbage. Bastardized, didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. That was never even released. It's like people miss the point of what I'm trying to say or do. I might as well do it myself. Yeah, and I'll get better. Look, I think 1998 was miles better than Bloodhoney. I wrote this after Bloodhoney, and I think it's better. Wrecked Planet is going to be better than both of those. I am a writer. I'm going to become a better writer as I go. Most of these comics that I'm seeing are just shit. They're just garbage. They're just, I don't know, they're just shit. They don't say anything. They don't mean anything. The characters aren't real. They're just hateful sarcasm and nothing matters. It's like, I have very little respect for other comic book writers right now. And for people to say you can't write comics, it just isn't true. I think, in fact, I'm better than most people who are writing comics right now. Because I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I know who these characters are. And I have an overarching plan that means something. I don't know. I might not be able to write anything, but I can certainly write CYBERFROG. Yeah, CyberFrog 1998 comes after Bloodhoney. You should read 1998 after you read Bloodhoney, yeah. Because Heather makes references to things that happened in Bloodhoney. You know, so you should read that second. Christopher Arcella says, you missed my super chat. I did? I didn't mean to. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of putting out a bigger book, but Christopher, I'll go back and find it. I don't think that's appropriate. Like, it would take me 180 pages would take me a year and a half to draw, so I can't. You know, I couldn't do that. People would be pissed. Trencher1375 says, you're a great writer with awesome ideas. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, I got to get the next installment out. You know, it's important, and we got plenty of time. I don't, I'm gonna be here doing CyberFrog for a long time. The first season is 4 books. That's CyberFrog season 1. But at the end of season 1, it's a cliffhanger. So we just go right into season 2. And CyberFrog season 1 is just like, what that is the hardcover. We'll just put them all together as a hardcover. All the books, all the big books, and then all the ash can size books will all be combined together into one big fat, volume that'll look great on your shelf next to warts and all. That's the plan for this. Jedi Knight and friend Alita says, getting my CyberFrog 2 months ago was the most emotional I felt about a comic since my mom's boyfriend showed me the death of Superman as a kid. Oh, thanks. Shane Zelensky says, get drawing. I know. I am. I'm trying. I've got so much to do before I can really even sit down and fully concentrate on Wreck Planet. I got to get these sketch covers done. And, it is a thing. Stretch goal ideas for Wreck Planet, says EVS Nipple Milk. What do you guys want? Like, what kind of, what did you like the best out of what you got? In terms of stretch goals and extras, I guess the first stretch goal is going to be to make it Chromium again. I'd like the comics, the floppies, to actually match. And they all look the same. So, when it comes to little extras, Infernal Iris says, feels like we just got to know Sal. The idea that he's either dead or going to die in the next issue just feels way too soon. Wow. I talked to Andrea about this a lot. Here's the thing. I mean, it means something. It all means something. There's all a message behind all of this. And so that, the message directs what happens in the story. And that's the way it is. Mike S. Miller cover would be good for a stretch goal. Hey, Mike, do a cover for CyberFrog Wreck Planet. I doubt that he would do it. Chrome. Yeah, actual stickers we can do. You know what I would like to do is I would like to do a sheet of puffy stickers. Like CyberFrog, puffy, like a sheet of just puffy stickers like they used to make. I would like to make those. I think those would be fun. So if I were going to do a sticker, it would be a sheet of stickers, whether they were puffy or not. And they'd be like wrapped in plastic and everything with they'd look like the kind that you would buy at Walmart. I'd probably want to make those, And the thing is, we can make anything. We can make anything that we want. If all we need are just ideas, Yeah, the oily stickers. Remember those? All that stuff from the 1980s. Graham Von Taco Cat says, does Heather go back for Chelsen's heart? Is that why CyberFrog is online again? Wait and see. It all makes sense, guys. It's all there. Reflective stickers. CyberFrog soda. Heather Swain in the fridge magnet. Oh, that'd drive them nuts. That'd be great. Lanyards. CyberFrog Pez dispenser. That would be expensive, but I would like to do it, A lunchbox. Yeah. Andrew Taz says, Sal is the heart. There you go. Now you're reading. Carefully. Kyle bonus stretch goal. Well, there'll definitely be a Kyle bonus. I'm gonna give Kyle a raise for this, and he's got to make more money this time around. That's important. Yeah. posters, and we'll do that too. Kyle, $30,000 bonus. How much money are we gonna make? I'll tell you something. If we make $1 million right out of the gate, yeah, Kyle's gonna get $30,000. Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of stuff to do, guys. There is definitely a lot to do. Trevor Bruce says all super chats should go to Kyle. Well, why don't you super chat Kyle? Jedi Knight and Friend Duelita says keep Wreck Planet at 48 pages or face Anna's wrath. Yeah. CYBERFROG fighting game says not applicable. Yeah. I mean, there is a CYBERFROG game. It's just it's a demo that was made by 3D Robin. And I think if you look up CYBERFROG demo game, CYBERFROG BLOODHONEY demo game, you'll find it. You can go play it. It's online, I believe. Kyle deserves every penny. Yeah, he does. He's so good. What I have Kyle doing right now while I'm working on Wreck Planet is we got files for the first 2 Hall of Heroes issues of CYBERFROG, and they're gonna go in the warts and all book, just in black and white. But I'm gonna have Kyle color them. I'm gonna have Somni re-letter them. We're gonna put them out with shiny covers. I don't know what I'm gonna sell them for yet, but I figured let's sell those. People would probably like to buy those. But Kyle Ritter coloring the first 2 Hall of Heroes issues of CYBERFROG with new lettering and shiny foil redrawn covers. Cecil of Christmas Past says, I'm legit depressed. Heather never gets to hear 10K days or lateralists from Tool. What a depressing timeline. Who cares about Survivors? I want Tool. Yeah, Cecil of Christmas Past today, I drove Andrea crazy because I went on YouTube and I just listened to the songs of 1998. Just the stuff that came out in 1998. Andrea came down here and she was like, turn that fucking Shania Twain shit off. And I was like, oh. She's like, I can hear that in my office. Get that out of here. Taking me through a horrible tour of the 1990s. I was like, just 1998. I mean, the last music that Heather heard was horrible. And that's what I think about. I'm like, what would okay, so what is the last song that Heather Swain heard? And you know what it is? It's, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. I get knocked down. That is the last song that Heather Swain heard. That's what it is. That was the song that was on the radio when the end of the world happened. Craziness. Mike TV says Andrew is jealous. Yeah, Chumbawamba. Tub thumping. I was listening to all of them. I was like, here's the thing. I in my head, I was thinking, if there was a CYBERFROG movie, what song from 1998 would I want to have remade that could possibly sound cool and, would kind of represent what it's all about. And I guess tub thumping is it, but somebody else would have to do it. They'd have to make it sound good because it's a fucking awful song. I guess I liked it in 1998, but listening to it now, I'm like, yuck. Yeah. But I mean, the theme of getting knocked down and getting up again is good. But they're communists too. Those guys are commies. So I'm not crazy about that. Backstreet Boys was 1998 too. Yeah. When did the crowdfund for 1998 happen? LOL. Is it an ashcan? Yeah, crowdfunding happened along the same time as the first campaign. You could buy a copy. And I keep offering it because I overprinted it. I mean, I printed 4,000 extra copies. So I knew that people were not, didn't realize they needed it. I'm going to put up another campaign for the team-up covers. We have plenty of team-up extras, and then I'll just offer the ashcans again. Team-up cover Second Chance campaign is going to have a Heather Swain head sketch inside. I offered CYBERFROG, a limited number of CYBERFROG sketches, a limited number of Salamandroid sketches. The team-up cover, you open it up, and, for a certain price, it'll have Heather Swain in there. EVS's Nipple Milk says more trading cards beyond CyberFrog, Sal, and Heather. Yeah, they're gonna make a whole line of trading cards. You know, I was gonna offer the trading cards, but I was gonna offer them as super premium ultra cards. They were gonna be like $100 a pack, and each pack was gonna come with like 2 original sketches and like original art and all that stuff. And people said too expensive, too expensive. So I kind of had to pull back and retool that whole thing. There were only going to be 18 base cards, and most of the cards were going to be like shiny special cards, original art, autographs. But if that's the way it is, if people don't want to pay $100, which I don't blame you, it's a lot, then we have to kind of pull back and say, okay, well, let's do a larger base card set, like 78 cards, or something like that, maybe 72 cards. And then just, there's one chase card in every pack. So you might get a sketch, you might not, probably won't. You'll get an autograph, you'll get a shiny card, something like that. And then we can build out the base card set and all that stuff. It became less important as time went by, because really I want Wrecked Planet to be, I need the second issue of CyberFrog out before we can offer the action figures and the trading cards. But we'll have plenty of merchandise. Charlie's London says, I want a Hot Toy style Heather. Oh yeah, in the purple. I'd have her on my desk at work. Also, thank you for all you do for the community. We couldn't do this without you. Oh yes, you could. You guys don't need me. I need you. I can't do anything without you guys. I'm depending on you. I'm like Wrecked Planet. I'm sick. I'm so nervous about it. I shouldn't be nervous about it. It shouldn't be an issue. Like, I should just kind of do it and then just put it out into the world, But that's kind of an SJW attitude. I want to succeed. I want to win. I want this book to do great. I want it to do better than BLOODHONEY did. I want to attract a bigger audience to read CyberFrog. And I want the book to be better all around. I want fulfillment to be better. The whole thing needs to be better. RR, wow, thanks for $25. He says, I don't know if it's a he or a she. It's been so long since I felt the excitement of waiting to read a comic book. CyberFrog will be my first comic book purchase in over 10 years. I look forward to supporting you and Comicsgate for years to come. Thank you, EVS. Oh, wow, thank you, RR. So you didn't buy it yet? You need to buy it? Check eBay. I'm sure you'll be able to find it, E-Tank says, yeah, don't be a fat, weird mess. No, I don't want to be a fat, weird mess. Did you send a copy of the book in Ashcan to Dr. Peterson? No, I don't think he cares. He wants me to illustrate his second book. That's what he cares about. But yeah, I think it's gonna do good too. Johnny Lane says it's gonna do great. Yeah, I think it's gonna do good because what did I do? I hooked a cliffhanger at the end of it. And it's good. I mean, the book is good. As I read it, I'm still happy with it. Like, there were no cringe moments in there for me. I don't know about you guys. You might have felt some cringe because it's not, it's not close to you. But, like, I wasn't embarrassed of anything in that book. That whole book was good. And 1998 was great, too. So, Zugi1 says, you skipped my super chat? Was out of the room. I don't know. Like, I have to go. I'll go back and look. I probably missed a few. Sometimes when I'm just talking, I close my eyes. And I don't, like, look at the chat, Yeah, the cigarette was too small, Leodara says. Yeah. I would fix that if I could. Bearded Duke says, just the beginning, middle, and end. But other than that, zero cringe. It would be cool if you could do Jordan B. Peterson's next book, but I understand about time, EVS. Yeah, look, he's not, like, Jordan Peterson is not paying me enough to do his book. I would love to do it just to have done it, but it's like, I feel like I've only got so much energy to expend, and at this point, it's like I'd rather expend all of that energy on CyberFrog. I think ultimately that's going to pay off more in the long run than, taking a job illustrating Jordan Peterson's book, but I'll probably try to do it anyway. Ian O'Loughlin says, wouldn't say cringe, but there was one cheesy moment. Oh, I'd like to know what that is. I'd like to know about the cheesy moment. Running Werewolf wants more Vespas. Yeah, like, the thing about the Vespas also is that they took over the whole world, but we don't see that. Like, we only see from our insulated point of view, which is New Jersey and Philadelphia. We catch a glimpse of Washington, D.C., but we don't see Paris. We don't see any of that yet because, we live in a little tiny bubble. Like, CyberFrog and Heather, they only care about each other in their own little world. It's the 90s. The rest of the world doesn't exist to them. They don't care. you know, and now even more so. It's like living in the woods. Like, what do you think that is? You've decreased you've tightened your bubble even more. Like now you especially, you know, it's like I think you know post 9/11, the world kind of got bigger. You know what I mean? Well, our perspective got bigger, but the world got smaller, I should say. Like we, you know, the internet and everything made us more in touch with each other and other cultures and you know other countries and each other. I mean, we just got to know the world a little bit more, but that never happened. You know, it's like in 1998 in cyberfrog that never happened. You know, the internet was just a thing and it doesn't exist anymore. And you know, now we live in the woods and our immediate the people around us are all we know or care about. Like we don't, you know, we're in the woods, we don't care what's going on in Europe. You know, we don't care what's going on in the rest of in China. Like who cares? It's not, you know, Cyberfrog is going to eventually have to care. But for now, you know, it's like, okay, we've been reduced to this now. We're just, you know, our lifestyle is minimalist. You know, yeah, like Heather says, I care about what I have. I care about the things around me. I value, more than ever, I value the things that I have. I'm not looking outside for more. I care about my community. I care about my daughter. You know, I care about my home and the possessions that I've managed to keep. You know, my memories. I care about those. That's why I'm keeping a diary. Those are the things that are precious to me, and I like that. I mean, you know, that's uh, I like that whole point of view. I like the idea of valuing the things that you have. I just think that's something that maybe we forget to do. Um, Hugo from Uruguay says, question, hello, if I subscribe now, will you send us a Heather Swain card? Yeah, Heather Swain cards are going out to everybody who's a subscriber in January. So subscribe now or subscribe before January. February, I'm going to announce a different card. So, or a different perk. I don't even know if it's going to be a card yet. It might be a sticker. You know, but it'll be something in February. This month in January, you're going to get the Heather Swain card. I've already sent out the order. I'm only printing 2,000 of them, and right now I have about 650 members. So I still have enough to give away, but you know, make sure that you subscribe before January. Let's see. Do the Vespas have any redeeming qualities? No. Well, they would say so. Like, you'll see. Oh, I'm so excited. Charlie's London says, don't be critical, EVS. Cyberfrog was the first time you wrote, I believe. You made it funny and poignant, and that's hard. Authors have hundreds of pages to do it. You had 96. Yeah, I'm glad. You know, I think it was good anyway. You know, there were parts of it you know, I can improve, but I still like it. Cotties, thanks for joining. You're gonna get a Heather Swain card. Appreciate it. Saul for X is a new member. He says new member. Hail. Let's see. 90s were my heyday of collecting, says RR. I checked out around 2008 and 10, and I gave up any hopes of comics being good again. Seeing this is exciting. Have to support good talent. Oh, I'm so glad. That's awesome. Time of Dying says, what do we have to do? What do we do to get the Heather card? And where and when do we send our shipping info? All right, so you just joined the channel, and it's going to cost you $4.99 a month to be a member of the channel. So I'm going to, you know, at the end of the month, I'm sending out Heather Swain cards. I will have an email address, and I will send to all members. I will give to all members. You'll get it in the private chat. You'll get a message that says, this is my email address. If you would like a Heather Swain card, I need your address. And you will send your address to that card or that email address, and I will pack up a card in an envelope wrapped in a card protector and send it out to you. And then February, I'm going to do the same thing. So if you're a member, you stay a member and you're going to get February's perk. Stay a member and you're going to get March's perk. But if you only want the Heather Swain card, stay a member, you know, and then you can quit. You know, I think that's what we're going to do. I'll always have something inexpensive but cool for every month. I think that's the way to do this. Yeah. If you need to swing extra shipping for Australia, let me know. Well, I think it'll be fine. I don't mind. Softrex says, holy shit, they totally stopped climate change. EVS Nipple Milk again. Says, are you still doing the chicken box for Wreck Planet? Yep. It's being designed. We have the chicken box logo. We have the logo done, and the chicken box is being designed. It is going to be the chicken box is going to be for everybody who backs at the $50 level. Okay, so when you buy Wrecked Planet and Salamandroid Death Sting, your order is going to come in a chicken box. There's going to be a bigger level, which is going to be a nicer box with a magnetic opening, CYBERFROG and Heather Swain artwork on it. It's going to look like that Vampirella box that I showed you, and that is going to contain, more stuff. I can't tell you what yet, but it's going to contain even more stuff. It'll be nice. Is there anything special about the metal of CYBERFROG cybernetics? Not disclosed yet. I mean, not particularly. It's definitely an alien metal, but is it especially strong? It's comparable, to steel. Linkovic says, do we get a spork and a wet nap too? I would love to do that. Andrea told me I was pushing it and it was stupid. But I'd love to do like a little plasticware pack and the CYBERFROG napkins and everything like that, but Wrecked Planet. Let's see. Lou says, keen to Wrecked Planet, mate. Awesome. I'm so glad. Wrecked Planet will probably launch in March, okay? I got to get Warts and All up there. I want to get Warts and All up before that. We've run into some problems because I'm being kind of a dick about it. Initially, it was just going to be a hardcover collection, and I started my imagination went kind of nutty, and I started realizing I wanted it to be better than that. I want the book itself, like the hardcover book, to be foil sheen, okay? Like it'll be shiny, and then it's gonna, at the giant level, there's $30 level, which is gonna be the book, which is shiny. Hardcover book, 328 pages, all of the material. The $80 level is gonna come in a slip cover that is the texture of CYBERFROG's skin. I want it to be green and bumpy with CYBERFROG bumps on the back of it, and you flip it over, it'll be his tummy you'll have like a blue, you'll have the blue tribal tattoo on one side of it, and it'll say CYBERFROG Warts and All. I want the slipcase to look like CYBERFROG, and so that's his skin, and then you pull the book out, and it's silver, and I just think that's frog and metal, and it'll just be so badass. So I announced that I wanted to do that, and a lot of people got frustrated with me and said that's a lot of work, and I said I know, but that's the product I want to make. So that's I got people working on it, and it's just like I said, people in charge are not very happy with me about it. So it's like, we can do anything you want, but this is going to take time. Okay, but it needs to be this way. It needs to be like that. I don't want to just do this and goof it up. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then after that, we do Wrecked Planet. I will pile these two campaigns on top of each other. I really don't care. I think they'll both sell. I think people want them both, so I'm not worried about just putting them too close to each other. But yeah, Wrecked Planet, we're looking at like March. Let's see. To be fair, every event takes place in present day. What is going on? Kyle needs to stop vaping. Yeah, he does. I agree. All right, so I'm going to get back to work. Mr. Wonderful joined the channel. Thank you very much. Billboard top hits for 1988. Don't want to miss a thing. Aerosmith. Yeah, I know. I listened to that too. Yeah. Kyle's like, my chest hair hasn't grown back from my heart yet. And puff. Yeah, I know. Kyle's gonna watch it, man. I need him around for a long time. Oh, super chats. Yeah, let me get back to super chats here. And thank you guys. Thank you for super chats. Let's see here. Where did we leave off? Zugi1 says, still not happy about that poster. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll replace it for you. Christopher Arcel says, I super chatted last stream, but I'll say it here. Earlier Mad Max interview, Preston and I talked about you in War Campaign. Doug Tenaple was in the chat and listening. Huh? I don't know what that means. Jake Foley says, this was fun. Looking forward to the next one. Drew, aka Mr. E, says, thanks for giving so much to the Comicsgate community. It's my pleasure. I love Comicsgate. I'm never going to quit. There are people who want me to go away. I'm never going to go away. I am Comicsgate through and through. And it's very important to me. Let's see. Absolutely love it. Yeah, we're doing great. I mean, all these Comicsgate campaigns are doing amazing. Let's see. Did I almost get everything? CYBERFROG fighting game. More trading cards. Yeah, there will be more trading cards. Mr. Wonderful joins. Spartan Scotsman for $10 says, thanks for the great reading tonight. Also, to help people starting out, I'm doing a video series on how to color. Hoping to spread some technique around. Love Comicsgate. Thank you, Spartan Scotsman. That's great. Edwin the Ace Acevedo says, still waiting for my line art variant frog book EVS. Edwin, I think it's on the way. But you know what? Like, didn't I have to mail you personally a bunch of books? Like, is there an address problem with you? I don't know what's going on. Edwin, if you don't get your line art variant frog book, you know, contact me and I'll do the same thing. I'll make sure that you get it. But I'm afraid there might be something up with your address if you're still waiting. Again, you know, it's kind of odd. We get, every time I go to the post office, there are like 3 crates of returns. And I give them back to fulfillment. They're supposed to contact you guys and figure out what happened. But just make sure your address is in there right. This one guy, he was upset. He was like, I didn't get my book. And I go, okay, let me look. And I looked at his address. You know, I looked him up. And his address was just his name 6 times in a row. I said, we shipped it to your name 6 times. Like, because they just print out a sticker. Like, nobody's handwriting this down there. If your address is wrong, we just print out your address that you left there and we ship it. You know, and it gets returned to us. You know, so double check. Edwin, that might be the problem with you. Zugi1 says, fair. Hopefully I get a different person at FC. I hope so, too. And if not, you know, I can't ship posters. I don't have poster tubes. Fulfillment's got to do it. All right, everyone. I love you very much. Thank you for joining. Thanks for all the new channel members. Appreciate you guys. And thanks for watching the show, the stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Be watching. I'm going to do more comic-y related stuff because I'm just not, I got to tell you, this is where my attention is right now. This is where my heart is. This is what I'm thinking about. And let me see here. I will show you just this panel here. This is from Wreck Planet. Where have you been? Where have you been, Froggy? There we go. Love you guys, and I'll see you again soon. Good night.